Title IX complaint has been filed by 3 Brave athletes. Their coach has removed all of these players from their starting positions. They've been benched and they've lost playing time. Why? For saying that player is a male.
She was hit in the head by the serve, and there was so much power, so much force behind it. It ended up in a concussion. They're on the women's team. They have full access to this locker room. I personally never had to change in front of a male.
Do you feel like the experience that you guys are kind of in the midst of now is part of this much bigger story? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Games for Girls podcast. I wanted to start this episode by playing a game of Guess Which One is the Man. If you're watching on youtube.com/OutKick, we're going to put up a picture, and I want you to pick out, trust your eyes here, which one is the male player. This is the Santa Rosa Junior College women's volleyball team. If you said the man, the very tall, physically, visibly much larger athlete standing on the far left, then your eyes would not be deceiving you. That is the male athlete. We also have a clip I want to show you guys really quick. Watch this. If you're watching again, you can see, but if not, look at number 20. Look at player number 20. So much larger. It is very, very clear this athlete is a male athlete. You know what this reminds me of? It's been viral all over X, all over TikTok the past few days. Cardi B has found herself in the middle of litigation. The story and the circumstances are kind of crazy. Obviously, we're not going to get into that on this episode. But there's this meme right now going viral of Cardi B where the plaintiff's attorney is questioning her. He says, well, how do you know that she's bigger than you? Let's watch this.
You said she's bigger than you? Is that correct?
This is how I feel
How do you know that?
when someone says, how?
I mean, look.
How did you know that's a male athlete? I mean, look. Trust your eyes here, people. A Title IX complaint has been filed by 3 Brave athletes. Today, we're going to be talking to 2 of those athletes. They're actually sisters who are on the Santa Rosa team together. But this complaint has been filed over safety concerns, lost opportunities, and locker room issues. Again, we've heard the story time and time and time again. We continue to see universities, colleges, elected officials, Democrats, really, double down on this issue. Since filing this Title IX complaint, these athletes, again, the 3 Brave women who were willing to put their name in their face of this, not without facing some of the threats that certainly they could have imagined existed. They faced retaliation. Their coach has removed all of these players from their starting positions. They've been benched and they've lost playing time. And again, why? For saying that player who, if you were watching, you probably guessed it, for saying that player is a male. We are going to get into all of that and more in this episode of Games for Girls. Again, we're talking to Gracie and Madison Shaw, 2 of the athletes who filed the Title IX complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. Be sure to follow us along before we get into the interview at youtube.com/OutKick. That's where you can find all things Games for Girls. Now let's get into the episode. Well, Gracie and Madison, welcome to the Games for Girls podcast. I say this often when we have what I would describe as heroines like yourself on the show. Like, these are my favorite people to talk to. It's kind of like your ordinary, everyday person who probably never imagined that you would be in the situation that you have now found yourself in. But you have, you've been the embodiment of courage and bravery since really being willing to put your name in your face of this. So thank you guys so much for joining. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourselves, maybe how long you've been playing volleyball, and I think what the sport has meant to you and your family? Gosh, you guys come from a family of volleyball players.
Well, thank you very much for having us. It's great to be here. For me, I've been playing volleyball for now 9 years. I started in middle school, 6th grade. I kind of come from a volleyball family. My mom was a volleyball player and had the chance to get signed to be able to play in college, and then actually was given the opportunity to switch from volleyball and then went to track. Very athletic family, but I've had her as my coach since the very beginning. I love the game. I've made so many great friends, and I've learned a lot of very important life skills like discipline and leadership. And I couldn't have gotten any of that without being involved in volleyball.
Yeah, I've also played volleyball since I was in sixth grade, and we also have two younger siblings, one who's just coming into high school. She's on our high school volleyball team, and my mom's coaching that team. She's the JV coach. And we've also have a little sister who's 10. She played volleyball as well. So we kind of are, we're a very big volleyball family, and so many memories have been made through volleyball friendships, and we've had great high school volleyball teams, league champs, gone to in-state rounds. So it was really, I love volleyball. It's such a fun game.
That's it's so true. You speak to the memories and the relationships and the friendships. Obviously, I played a different sport, but my best friends in life are the people that you meet playing sports when you're young, when you go to college. Those are your roommates, your best friends. And so totally, and the skill sets you develop. Like you said, discipline, leadership, communication, all those things translate even beyond sports. And so really critical stuff. But to come from a family of four sisters, four girls who all play volleyball, your mom played, she coaches. What about for you two specifically? Like, what is the dynamic like playing on a team with your sister? Because I have two sisters, and my oldest sister played softball. I swam. My youngest sister's a gymnast. I think I would have killed my sisters if we had to share a team together. So, what's that dynamic like?
Yeah, it's definitely it's been an amazing opportunity to be able to have such a close relationship with my sister and being able to play sports with her. We do have to say, when we're on the team, our teammates knew who the sisters were on the court because, yeah, it's just you have that different relationship where you're more tough on each other. You really try to bring out the best in each other, and sometimes you show it a little differently to your sister than your friend or your teammate on the team. So it's definitely been a great experience, and I love it.
Okay, so you guys have found yourself in the midst of this situation, which I gave some background in the intro. Would you mind telling a little bit about, I mean, specifically what I'm referring to and how you found out this was something that you both would have to be kind of dealing with?
Last year, I committed to the volleyball team. I was the starting outside hitter. I played all six rotations, never really came off the court. It was honestly one of my best volleyball seasons. I learned so much, and I just felt like I was going to be able to go into my next season feeling I had the opportunity to earn scholarships and continue my volleyball career and transfer to a 4 year. But I was really concerned about this male athlete that was currently a redshirt on our team. And I wanted to raise these concerns of my safety, not only just for me, but for my teammates and other female athletes that are going to be participating in games and playing against this person. And our privacy, how it's being invaded every time in the locker room situation. And really, the level of playing field was changed drastically when we have a male athlete on the team. So I went and talked to my athletic director, my Title IX coordinator, and my coach, and spoke out about these concerns that I've had, and that I was demanding my Title IX rights should be upheld by our school, and that our female athletes should be prioritized in women's sports. And they were telling us that their current policy is that they're going to allow transgender male athletes participation on women's sports. And I just felt my voice was not being heard. They were not taking it seriously into what I was saying and how I felt my rights were being violated. So I decided to file this complaint in hopes that they would change their mind.
Wow. Was there any like clarity or transparency, I guess maybe is a better word, from your university or maybe from the coaching staff that this athlete was a male? Or was this something that you guys as women, as female athletes, again, who were sharing the locker room, sharing the court with this athlete, is this something you guys had to kind of deduce or maybe even question on your own?
Oh my gosh, we might be on a team with this male athlete, and we had all of these concerns. So we went to our athletic director before the season started said that we were hoping that we would have answers about what was going to happen before the season even started. And every time we were just turned away with, oh, we don't really know what policy we can follow. We need to wait until this meeting and then we'll have an answer. And it got pushed all the way until August when we were having games starting, scrimmages starting. And we were told, even at one point by our Title IX coordinator, that we can't assume anyone's gender here. When if any person looks at this male athlete with your eyes, you can tell that that is not a female athlete.
Well, that's the real harm being done. And it is truthfully pretty Orwellian when you think about it. You have these adults who, I mean, are talking to young girls and the message that they're sending is to, kind of let your guard down, be vulnerable, and disregard what your eyes are telling you. Just accept that this person is the same as you simply because they say they are. And that's a really harmful message, again, I think, especially to send to young women. Of course, I've looked at the complaint that has been filed with the Office of Civil Rights at this point, and one of the concerns was the concern of safety. And we've seen other stories, I think especially in the sport of volleyball, where women have been injured. Some have suffered season-ending injuries. Some women have suffered career-ending injuries. People like Peyton McNabb, who's been on this show before, I mean, she was partially paralyzed on her right side after being hit by a male on the other side of the court. And so can you talk about the moment when you realized, again, that this wasn't necessarily just about fairness and competition, but about physical risk?
So last year during the spring, I realized that this was big. The bigger picture wasn't just my privacy being invaded and fair competition, but we're putting ourselves at risk every time we step onto that court with a male athlete. And one of our teammates was at the net, and the male athlete was serving from the end line, which is 30 feet away from the net. So this is not like a hard-driven ball from at the net. That's even worse. But having that much distance between each of the players, she was hit in the head, in the back of the head by the serve, and there was so much power, so much force behind it, that it ended up in a concussion. And she was out 2 weeks of her sophomore year season, which is in junior college, is your last year playing. And so that made me realize that this is not fair. We should not be having to, yes, I mean, injuries happen, especially in volleyball. It's inevitable. But this one in particular could have been prevented because we're allowing this male athlete who has physical advantages over these females to be participating and putting us at risk.
I love that point you make because it's so true. It's often a argument or rebuttal used on the other side is they say, well, injuries happen in sports. Of course they do. That's part of playing sports. There's, no one on this podcast or this episode is here to say that injuries shouldn't happen, but it's the fact that this one was avoidable, preventable, and should have never happened. So that to me is it's heartbreaking, again, that there are adults who know this, who know that you're being put at risk, yet still kind of being willing to let you guys be the sacrificial lambs in the story, if you will. Which one more point I want to make about volleyball specifically, and really it's kind of across the board with most sports. Like there's a difference in women's gymnastics versus men's gymnastics. Like they don't compete the same events. Same thing with baseball versus softball. Like the size of the field, the size of the ball. Softball throws underhand, baseball throws overhand. Basketball, there's differences. What about in volleyball? Like what is the height of the net for men's volleyball versus women's? Like is there a difference there?
Yes, the net in men's volleyball is higher than a women's net by 5 feet. And
5 inches.
5 inches, sorry, I didn't mean 5 feet, by 5 inches. And when you play co-ed sports, which there's co-ed volleyball leagues, men have to hit behind the 10-foot line, and you can't put up a block. Like there's certain rules that ensure safety to the female athletes because there is that biological difference. And I myself, even at the end of August, I got hit by a ball by this male athlete, and I was ready. I knew the male athlete was gonna hit the ball, and I just couldn't react fast enough, and hit me in the face. And that just shows how men have that biological advantage of being stronger, faster, have broader shoulders, which are advantage in many sports, not just volleyball, and why there is two separate sports leagues.
Of course. Yeah, that's absurd. So you go on to file this Title IX complaint, again citing the physical concerns that we just talked about, citing the fairness, obviously losing out on opportunities, the privacy concerns as it pertains to the locker room. What has been the response that you have received, maybe from teammates or from your coaching staff or from your university? I know there was a statement issued by your university that we saw when OutKick reached out and asked them. They responded, as many would probably imagine, because it's the pretty standard response that we have seen, whether it's from an academic institution, whether it's from a corporate institution, whatever it is. Basically, they're committed to fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for all students and employees. But when they say all students, they are pretty exclusively leaving out being inclusive to women. So what has the response been that you guys have received?
Well, from the beginning, we've stated, especially for the locker room situation, how it's uncomfortable. I mean, the locker room is supposed to be a space that we're supposed to feel comfortable in. We're vulnerable when changing. And when you put a male athlete into that vicinity, it really makes the females feel like we're not being protected. Our privacy is being violated. And they still continue to say that since this male athlete is identifying as a female athlete and they're on the women's team, they have full access to this locker room. And I mean, just me, Gracie, and Brielle, when we have to go to practice or before games to change, just having that like anxiety that, oh my gosh, I'm going to be having to change in front of a male. I personally never had to change in front of a male. So this is like insane that they're allowing this and choosing what's more comfortable for the male athlete than prioritizing their female athlete's privacy.
Yeah, it's so violating to be really forcibly put in that position. You guys have since, again, shown extreme bravery and sacrifice. Again, I think that's important for people to realize, especially people who, I mean, maybe if the people listening or watching this, they've played sports, they understand the sacrifices that naturally come with sports. But I think those who haven't played sports, again, we're talking, you're missing out on social events. Oftentimes schoolwork becomes compromised because you're at tournaments or games or, traveling with your team, whatever it is. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. You guys have decided to stand up for women's sports and spaces in a different way beyond this, filing this OCR complaint as well. Can you talk about what that's looked like? I think we might even have a video to show from your tournament, even just this past weekend, if we can clip to that really quick. Can you describe what's happening in that clip there?
I'm sitting on the sideline because I have chose to stay on the team and come to practice, come to the weights. I'm spending at least 5 hours on volleyball every single day. And I said to my team, I'm not going to compete while my Title IX rights are being violated and that I have a male athlete on this team. And ultimately, I chose to make that choice because that's me putting the choice in the coach's hands. Like, look, I'm showing up to everything. I'm putting the hard work in, and I will play on this team as long as there isn't a male athlete.
So you're there, but you're protesting by not standing, not playing. This is something that I've kind of dubbed as Project Boycott, with emphasis on the word boy. Anytime there's a man or a male athlete on the field or the court or whatever the athletic setting is, we've seen this rise in women do exactly what you're doing, saying, look, we're not going to even allow you to trample on our rights in the way that you have been. And so, Madison, what about you? You've made the choice now to step away completely until the situation changes. Can you share, why you felt like this was the strongest decision that you could make?
I would agree with Gracie. There's so much time and effort you put into being in a collegiate level sport. And I've made it very clear that I want to be on the team. I want to play. But every time I would go to practice or I showed up for the first 6 games and I felt disappointed. I felt betrayed by our school and honestly very upset. And it was just taking such a mental toll on me. And I realized that this is not good for me. I should not be feeling this way. So I've decided to step away until a time that they allow our team to be females for a women's team and there's no longer a male athlete jeopardizing my safety, my privacy, and my ability to have fair competition.
I mean, what you're describing is like seemingly the bare minimum. And again, the people who are paid, like oftentimes pretty glamorous salaries, the people who are paid and trusted to protect you both and the rest of your team, they have failed to act. Actually, not only have they failed to act, they've basically told you that this man's feelings are worth more than your again, your physical safety, which is a pretty troubling thought. And important to mention, obviously this is happening in California, but it's not just about your school. We've seen schools, whether it's high schools or colleges, oftentimes even younger. We've seen this at the professional level. So really all ranges and levels of sports, we've seen this happen across the country. We've seen other, whether it's elected leaders, unelected leaders, people like Governor Newsom, of course, who have shown similar failures to protect girls. Do you feel like the experience that you guys are kind of in the midst of now is part of this much bigger story?
I believe that, I mean, it was super nerve-wracking to have to go because at the beginning of all of this, I was on the team by myself wanting to stand up for my rights. So my sister and Brielle, they were not committed to the team yet, and this was in the spring. And so when I got the courage to stand up and tell my athletic director and my coach how this is wrong and that we should not be having a male athlete on our team, it was very nerve-wracking. And I just knew that I was called to do this. I was called to really create a voice for other young female athletes that are probably in the same situation as me.
I think back, when relating this to my own personal experience, which I think it's important to make the point that it is virtually the same every time. These stories that continue to break, continue to happen. It's pretty much always a pretty mediocre man who becomes this like record smasher in the women's category. Like that's pretty standard across the board. But when I compare it to, what we went through, what I went through, like I didn't feel qualified. I didn't know anything about this issue. I didn't know anything about our government. I was like the worst public speaker you could possibly imagine. Like my face would turn the color of a tomato anytime I had to like be in a setting even like this. Like I was so not the person who I would imagine would have any ability to have impact. But I quickly realized like when you feel so strongly and so passionately, when you care so deeply about the topic at hand, you're willing to do whatever it takes. And in those moments, you find it within yourself, like all the things you thought you didn't know, you're suddenly given, the ability to either research it, understand it. It all clicks kind of, and you can speak eloquently. You can talk about these things. You can have impact. And so I totally agree there. And I think the point too being that you both have younger sisters. And so knowing that this is something that they could deal with at some point, if they haven't already, which is a crazy thought, given that your youngest sister is only 10 years old. Living in the state of California, it would not be an unreasonable thing to imagine that this is something that she will one day have to deal with. That alone, I would imagine, is enough reason for you both to be involved. As it stands now, again, you guys are kind of taking the protests that you are, or the firm stand that you are. I don't really like the word protest. It kind of sounds like antagonistic. It's really not. What you guys are doing, I mean, you're again the heroes in this story for doing what you're doing. But I mean, it's important to note, like every day that passes without action, without seeing some sort of administrative level of whether it's repercussions to the male athlete or prioritization of the female athletes is another day that you both lose a chance to play the sport that you love. And so now with this Title IX complaint being filed, what is your message, I think, specifically to the Department of Education about the urgency of acting quickly on this complaint and the others that are filed around the nation?
I think that our hopes for filing this complaint was because we first filed our Title IX complaint to the school directly, and we still to this day haven't gotten a response, and we realize that this issue is just going to be ignored if we don't make a bigger deal out of it. So by filing our ORC complaint, we are hoping that they will change their policies. They will make it so that only females are in female sports and that male athletes stay out of female sports, and that they act quickly, because the more that we don't change these policies, the more male athletes are going to think it's okay to be on these female teams, because they can get around it. They can go in the locker rooms, they can compete in the teams, they can get playtime and win games, and that's not okay.
Totally.
Yeah, and I've said that I really want to play this season, and so I'm really hoping that they're able to see clearly that this is not right and that we need to uphold the Title IX rights that gave women the equal opportunity to compete in sports. And I'm hoping that they will change their policies so that I will be able to play. And that's really my end result. And for all the female athletes that are doing the same, as either not playing or stepping away from the team for the time being, because we all deserve as female athletes to be able to compete.
100%. What your university, what your college is doing right now is explicitly violating your Title IX rights. And so continue to stand tall, stand firm. Maybe you don't have the support you would have imagined from your college, or maybe it is the exact support you would imagine from your college. Please know that there are so many people, and hopefully you felt this, especially through social media in the past few weeks as the story has really garnered national attention. Hopefully you know that there are so many people in your corner cheering you on, watching you as you continue to go down the path that you are, with hopes that their daughter or maybe their granddaughter doesn't have to go through what you guys are currently going through. And so I appreciate you. If there's anything that I can do, we can do, would be just happy to do it. And you guys, like I said, you guys are heroines.
And I just appreciate all the female athletes like you, Riley, and Brooke Slusser, and organizations like Icons that have really made it possible for us to have the courage to speak out and to know we have a support system.
100%.
And also we want to thank everyone. We've had so many people reaching out, our friends, our family, people that we don't even know, that are saying thank you so much for standing up, and that support has been really helpful through all of this, along with Icons, of course, helping us navigate everything.
That's awesome. And yes, Icons, we've had Kim Jones, Marshy Smith on this podcast many times to talk about, their own personal stories, to talk about the litigation that has been ongoing, whether it's the Gaines versus NCAA lawsuit. Icons, as Gracie and Madison said, has been involved in helping filing of this Title IX complaint. The work that they're doing is incredible. And so you can check out Icons at iconswomens.com. Get involved there. They have lots of ways and resources and different things to help keep people up to date with what's going on and give them kind of like a call to action to ultimately help really foster an environment where women's sports are just for women. Novel, right? Like, what a novel concept. In the year 2025, we have to say that out loud and continue fighting for it, which again is why I'm so grateful for you both. So thank you. I cannot believe that we are talking about this even still in the year 2025. I want off of this roller coaster. Can't imagine the school will act with any sort of efficiency or swiftness in getting the male athlete off of the women's team, because they've allowed it up until this point. So I think we will continue to see this story of this team in particular in the headlines, in the breaking news, trending on social media as more and more people become aware of it. These women, these three brave women, deserve to be applauded for their courage, for their strong stance. Hopefully we see the Department of Education, the Trump administration get involved very quickly so they can go back to playing the sport that they love. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to go to youtube.com/OutKick. Like, comment, subscribe. That's the best way to be able to engage with this show so you never miss an episode. We will see you guys again next week.